I think you need to see Jared Benny, you need to see the page flip.
The movie is a tricky movie because it is just a little bit period. And it's mostly in offices and restaurants and on streets.
You don't have explosions, you have metaphorical explosions, but you don't have much action.
When you think of the script, it's not necessarily the most visual film, but it is full of energy.
Should we try to close the door on this one? It makes no sense the door would be open.
You feel what these characters are going through. You get a sense of how they were positioned in this world.
It's not a fossilized period piece from 20 years ago. We're still living in the world in which the 2008 events happened.
Banking, it's rife with entitlement and greed. That certainly hasn't changed.
This explains a situation that is continuing to happen, and that anybody who has any money deposited anywhere should know, because it directly affects everybody.
Our biggest challenge throughout the whole movie was making sure that everything always had a life. One of the problems with the way people deal with banking is they view it as this monolithic, unapproachable, perfectly crafted, steely entity. And it's not. Of course, it's just regular people putting on suits, going to buildings that look monolithic and impressive. So one of the reasons I really wanted Barry Ackroyd to shoot this was that I wanted to humanize it. I wanted these to feel like people.
I look for something in a script that'll make you understand the world better, understand humanity better, be more open to ideas and things. You're not going to change the world, but you might change a few people's view of the world.
I think you should do the push all the way through. It's all back ahead. And then
Barry's technique of shooting is perfect for this because it creates a level of intimacy that we had to have for this movie. It also creates an urgency within the scenes too. So rather than just a guy on a phone from a medium shot, suddenly you're inside it, you're seeing pieces of him, and it becomes a whole little interior story that starts happening.
We try and bring the audience into the middle of the scene. It's much more observational. It feels like you're in the room with the subject, and therefore you listen harder.
Him using those long lenses creates this voyeuristic sense of intimacy, which is just thrilling and so exciting.
He has a way of being there, of putting you there, and it's almost like that's his magic, that's his art.
If you shoot it with that traditional proscenium frame and just 3-layer light it and make it look all glossy, it doesn't feel human. And then it intimidates a crowd, and the truth is there's no way any of us should be intimidated by banking.
Hey, excuse me.
Because Barry shoots that documentary verite style. He doesn't like to be on top of the actors. He doesn't want a dolly track running right under an actor's nose. He wants them to create the moment, and then he finds his way into it.
Remember that when you meet with the guys from Baird. I set you up with a face-to-face.
Also, where's that?
It's like a flow, a constant flow of thoughts and insight. And Barry on the camera, I forget that he's there. He could be here right now filming this and I wouldn't even know. It's very loose, and so you feel very free.
I talked with Barry about how we wanted to blend the styles, how sometimes we would go on dollies, sometimes we would be a little more classically framed, and I want the language to shift.
So in Florida, there is a more classical investigation.
Hello?
But when they realize that there's a bubble and they're walking through the airport, that's in handheld. So the form of the film really suited the way to tell the story.
I think it's sort of a new kind of filmmaking in some respects.
The choice to shoot on film for me was a no-brainer. I had done Anchorman 2 on digital. It was the first movie I ever did on digital, and quite simply, I hated the way it looked. I just hated it. To me, there's just no question film looks better. It's got a warmth to it, it's got a depth.
It's a richer palette, cleaner, nicer look, and using a 500 ASA film stock for these interiors gives that film quality that when you shoot digitally, you're always promising we could add that in post.
It's analog, direct light imprinting chemicals versus the binary code that's translating it through it. And that sort of sharpness and coldness I knew for this story would not help us. And the same idea that these characters need to have intimacy, that need to have an urgency and a humanity to them within the frame extended to our other department heads too. So you never had that sort of flatness.
One of the mandates of our director, Adam McKay, and also our cinematographer, Barry Ackroyd, was that neither one of them wanted it to look like your typical Wall Street movie. And that wasn't difficult for me to do because we have these different groups of people that are such distinct personalities.
Susan Matheson, our wardrobe person, is just this ball of energy. She's just obsessive, and she got so detailed.
The biggest challenge was capturing the essence of the original people that the book was based on. So I started by speaking to absolutely everybody who was featured in the book that was willing to speak to me. For example, with Porter Collins, he said to me, I'm very tall, I'm 6'5". So I never wear stripes because they just make me look taller. I always wear checks. So I made sure to never put Hamish in anything other than a check.
Where are you going?
I am going to try to find moral redemption at the roulette table.
And then what I did with Steve Carell is go up a couple sizes in everything. I made sure that his pants were a little too long because the character of Mark Baum is not trying to prove anything to anybody. He's a person who's very authentic, very much his own person, and is not trying to look slick. He's just trying to be comfortable.
I'm going on and on. My wife told me I need to share more.
And then you've got Michael Burry. Christian Bale really wanted to honor everything about Michael Burry, and so did I. Michael, the real Michael, doesn't like to feel the clothing on his body. He really likes things to be loose because he finds it really quite distracting. So he just wore t-shirts, a pair of Patagonia shorts, and a pair of Birkenstock sandals.
That's a nice shirt. Do they make it for men?
I don't know if it's necessarily the most exciting time for costume design. And there also was a certain authenticity to the way that they were shooting the movie that was very naturalistic.
There's subtle differences between now and 8 years ago. Everybody's wearing very skinny ties and very skinny pants and very skinny jeans now. But 8-10 years ago, that was absolutely not popular.
Susan did a terrific job with the wardrobe, sort of making it feel natural, but also tapping in a little bit to the sense of humor that the film has as well.
Morons.
When I came out of the trailer for the first time as that character, Steve Carell looked at me and he went, never do this again. Do it for this and then never do it again.
Oh boy, your boss is about to explode.
No, he's too curious to explode.
Hank Corwin, a brilliant editor, brings a feeling, a spirit, a tone that makes this story completely accessible to everybody.
I was just blown away by him on a daily basis. He's a master at his craft. He's edited some of the great films of all time, from Tree of Life to Natural Born Killers, and he can be impressionistic, he can be literal and truthful, he can cut for energy.
The big challenge for me as an editor was how to make this kinetic, how to make it move, how to make it interesting. Adam talked to me about a film that he loved, that he thought was sort of a seminal way to look at this film. It's called 24-Hour Party People. You know, it's very non-linear, it's very free-flowing, and it gave me permission to try editorially taking the film to kind of a different place. And we were able to actually put together a film that was really entertaining, but kind of surreal.
Adam and Hank Corwin, the editor, they've done such a wonderful job of making it relatable, making it understandable, seeing this stock footage in between means much more than a date. I look on a date on screen, it takes me a little while to go, what the hell was I doing at that time? Whereas I hear a song or I see a clip from the news and I instantly know, right, bang, I know exactly what I was doing at the moment that all this other stuff was going on.
You can read our agreement.
Do not throw our inception agreement in my face, Michael. We had an underlying understanding you wouldn't act like a goddamn crazy man.
This is not crazy. It's all very logical.
Michael Burry, the cutting of his stuff initially was very surreal, very quiet.
Morgan Stanley building, fast.
Mark Baum was very aggressive, and the editorial took no prisoners. I mean, it didn't matter if there were jump cuts. It didn't matter if some of the jump cuts were ugly. That sort of enhanced the mania of it.
Hank understood from the beginning the chaos of what happened. I mean, really, the speed with which everything was happening, and cut the movie deliberately to try and recreate that fun ride that we were on.
This is crazy stuff. Shit, he's saying that there's 10-to-1 returns on credit default swaps for mortgage-backed securities.
And then you had the Brad Pitt group, and they were young and earnest, but I tried to cut that much more conventionally, much more lyrically.
He does this one move that I just love, which is he'll just chop off dialogue at the end of a scene. Someone will start to say something and you'll cut to the next scene. And it gives this sense of like, it's not resolved. It's just electric when you use it in the right way. It's really amazing to see that.
What the hell is going on?
You can cut right in the middle of a sentence, right in the middle of a word, just to move on. And it gives you momentum. It's not something you do all the time, but you can actually make a statement about the person who's speaking by where you cut out of where they're speaking. You can actually editorialize that way.
Defaults over 8% were impossible.
Oh my
That there would be 1 million homeless.
I've always had really good editors, but I've never experienced anything like this. And just a dream to work with.
I think we should buy more swaps.
What? Suck it up and pay up, fellas. We made a deal.
No way. No.
Fucking kidding me? You come in here. You fucking
seriously look at yourself in the No.
It's such an important subject, and it's so beautifully written, and it's so beautifully shot, and so beautifully acted, and I hope the editing communicates the story.
Maybe I'll run it with whatever setups you guys get. I'll run it with Joey coming in and just see what we can get.
Everyone who worked on this movie just did an amazing job of capturing the essence of what's happening.
If you're taking a particular episode, but you're setting it against a landscape that you think remains wildly true today as it did then, that only confirms its relevance.
Go directly
I just
to your
leave?
transportation.
That's just
Do not
fucking great.
talk to your press.
I'll talk to whoever the hell I want.
It's not the Wall Street of the mind. It's not the Wall Street of ideals. It's not a Wall Street that you've seen before.
We've all stepped out of our comfort zone a little to lift those words which are on a page into a real, living, dynamic, fun, entertaining, and informing way. I think we've achieved that for sure.